Hi, good morning, everybody. I know it's Wednesday and I know it's Tuesdays with Todd, but sanitation companies are a day late. We might as well be a day late, right? So, we're our first Tuesdays with Todd is going to be it's going to be on a Wednesday. So, Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Cody. How are you? Good morning, everybody. Love to hear your questions. Love to hear like any thoughts that you have for 2024. We're spending a lot of time talking about how we're going to war in 24. I know that sounds a little bit, I don't know, maybe aggressive, but I kind of feel like this is the time to be aggressive. This is literally what we're here for, right? Like the rising tide lifts all boats. It's not super impressive when you look at it that way. And yet today, in an opportunity when people are literally getting out of the market constantly. Like just go look at the sheets, especially it's the beginning of January. Wait until you see the in and out board for your local MLS. Because remember, on January 1st, all of the dues were due for the National Association of Realtors and your local stuff. And so you're going to see people drop like flies. It's going to be crazy. And yet, what we hear is, oh my gosh, this is bad. This is bad. Well, it's not really that bad. It's bad for those people that were with an organization that didn't have what it needed in order to help them become better salespeople. See, I think that's the travesty of it all. And just like agents, you all have other agents in your marketplace that are saying, hey, listen, I do the same thing Sway does. I do the same thing Cody does. I do the same thing Julie does, but I'll just do it for less. And you and I both know that's nonsense. It's not true. And yet, this is when all that stuff comes to roost, right? Right now is when those customers go, no, 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 no. I'm picking a pro. I'm going to pick somebody who will actually get the job done, that won't tell me about it, that will show me. I don't want to hear any more of these like, oh, yeah, trust me, I can do it. I need you to demonstrate. So I think we're seeing a lot of that stuff. Hey, Dennis, how are you? Good morning. Happy New Year. So I'm going to be all over the place today. What I'd like to do is start off. I was listening to a trainer the other day, and he was talking about, and it was cars. Like he literally was going through a training on how somebody would approach potential customers' vehicles by calling people that had their vehicle in the service department. And I thought, wow, man, that's good. That's really good. See, in our real estate world, there is a time when homes get to a particular age where things become more expensive. It's not just payments. And yet, sometimes as agents, we get so focused on, well, it's just the payment. Interest rates are low and this. No, no. It's the cost of ownership that we should be looking at. And that's what this person was talking about. That's what this person was training to. And I thought, man, that is really good. That is really good. The same thing happens with homes. Pools, they need massive maintenance. Equipment needs to be replaced. Landscaping needs to be redone. Roofs, mechanicals, water heaters. Like we know all of the deal, right? They all begin to fail at a particular period of time. And so if we were talking about, hey, listen, you've got equity and you've got payment, and then you've got true cost associated with operating this home. Sometimes, in some cases, what you're doing is you're helping a homeowner realize when maybe they wanted a different home, maybe they wanted something bigger, better, different location, smaller, whatever it was for them, but they were feeling like they were rate locked or they were feeling like they couldn't afford it. And suddenly what you've done is you've shown a pathway for them to get what it is that they wanted simply by showing them the cost of ownership is actually elevated. Maybe it's not quite there. Maybe it's more. Maybe it's even to. It doesn't really matter. Your job, my job as a salesperson, is to simply hear what the buyer and or seller want and keep their goal at the center of the conversation. In this case, simply saying, hey, listen, you're in an older home. Whatever hot water heater goes out at about, by the way, you can meet with an appraiser or you can Google this stuff. There's lifetime calculations for all of these different features and functions within the home. It'll tell you, like some roofs are 10 years, some roofs are 50 years, some, hot water heaters about 10 years. Anyway, you get the point. You got to get down though to the bottom of like what is the true cost of ownership, and you literally can show them that maybe staying in their current home is the best for them, or alternatively, maybe getting a newer home that's got better efficiencies and newer equipment, and therefore less operating costs is better for them. Thought that was huge. Um, listings. Listen, when it comes to listings right now, we have to be really, really good. I think there's just way too much average in there. Like when you really think about it, the job is to make sure that we get to the closing table smoothly and remain in a superior negotiating position the entire way. That's our job if we're representing the seller. Obviously, the opposite is true if I'm representing the buyer. When we're talking though to customers, we're making it seem so easy that people think they can list their property with anybody. That's not accurate. That is totally not accurate. Some of you are exceptionally good at understanding the entire process. You're so good at making it seem so smooth and so easy, and yet you are so adept and so skilled at what it is that you're doing. That's why it looks that way. I feel like sometimes we've got to do a better job of articulating what it is that we're doing so that people don't think that this is just some simple Simon deal. Hey, Jared, Happy New Year. I might say, hey, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, my job is to make sure that we get to the closing table. That's my job, keeping your goals at the center of the conversation at all times. Now, if I'm doing my job properly, I'm going to make it seem really smooth and really simple. But I want you to be clear the entire time, my goal is to continue to keep you in a superior negotiating process through the entire deal. That's a pretty good lead in. And then I can say, so let me share with you some of the ways that I'm doing that. And then tell me, tell me when another piece, when I'm talking with a potential listing, I want to get to the bottom of what it is that they've done. Remember, my job is to make sure that putting this property in its best condition and making sure that I'm in a superior negotiating process. You and I, as listing specialists, understand that you can't take a home with a bunch of deferred maintenance and not address the deferred maintenance and think that we're going to somehow or another maintain a superior negotiating position throughout the entire process. It's total crap. So you have those sellers that are like, no, don't worry about it. They'll get an inspection. They'll want to do their own carpet. They'll want to do their own paint. No, if you've got a home that needs some work, you're going to want to address it up front. Otherwise, they're going to come back to you after the inspection, and you're no longer in a negotiating stance unless you just want to be an asshole and just say, hey, we're not doing anything. Well, those days are changing. We always know they change. So what I would encourage you to do is ask the seller, tell me what you've done to the home. Tell me what you've done to this home. Tell me what's special about it. So that would be number one. And then number two, if you were going to stay in this home, what are some items that you would have done to make it the place that you wanted it to be for the longest period of time? Okay, so what have you done? And then these are the items that you know that aren't working for you that you would have them change in order for you to stay in the home. Now, what that does is it gives you an opportunity now to both help the seller position their property properly. It also gives you all the information that you need to make sure that you stay in a superior negotiating process or position as you move forward with the buyer. This is super important. What have you done? And then what would you do moving forward? You can also then have some conversations with these sellers about which items need to be done, which items don't need to be done. And then you can, of course, tell the story as you give your tour, etc. Good morning, Jennifer. Happy New Year. All right, so we talked about overall operating expenses, but I had another note here that some of the items that were on my list of operating expenses. It's so funny because this takes me back to my days when I was selling copiers. I would walk in, I would meet with somebody, and they'd say, "No, no, no, we own our copier, free and clear. Don't have any more payments. It's great. Everything's fine." I'd be like, "Hey, listen." If I could show you how having a brand new product would actually cost you less or the same, and you get a superior speed and quality of product, would you want to know about it? Well, of course. Okay, great. Well, we would gather some information, and then I would come back with a proposal, and I would show them, hey, you could have a faster machine, a better machine, one that's connected as a printer, blah 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 blah, and the cost would be the same or even less. Well, how would you do that? Well, it's cost of operation. It's the entire picture, not just the one piece of the picture, because if I was looking at it from a standpoint of, hey, you own your copy or you have no payment, and all I was going to do is compare payments, well, certainly owning the copier was better. But that's not the full story. We have to dig into the full story. That's what makes us pros. That's what makes us pros. So we dig into everything. We dig into all of it. Your gas, your electric. Oh, well, what do you mean? Well, some have more efficient products and mechanical. So as a result, they're not using as much gas, or maybe they've got solar panels, or maybe they've got a different technology for water heaters, or maybe their HOA dues have gone up. Maybe there's some kind of an assessment that we don't know about it, but digging into that stuff is a really big deal, right? Taxes, too big, too small, storage requirements. That's another one that I always love to ask, because there's lots of people that are storing their RV, storing their boat, storing their gear, storing all of this other stuff. And they're paying three, five, $1,000 a month just to have a place for their stuff to be stored. And yet if you solved that for their home, they could store it in their own home for the same or less money, and they get the home that they were wanting. That's pretty cool, right? So anyway, if we're going to focus on the dollars, I guess my point to you is make sure that as pros, you're really looking into all that stuff. Um, let's see, lead generation. Lead generation. My little brother jokingly calls people that own homes home moaners, because he's on the development side. But it's painful, right? It's painful to pay for stuff as a home moaner. We spent a lot of time going, dang, man, that was a lot more expensive. It really isn't just the payment. So what is it that we're doing? So this is, what if I could solve that issue for them? A person's house payment is not the cost of ownership, right? So now how would I turn these into lead opportunities? Well, I might go to my preferred vendors. I think each of you have got a preferred vendors list. I know each of our offices has got a preferred vendors list that we work closely with. They want to work more closely with you. I promise you. So I'll give you an example. If you have a roofer that's on your preferred vendor list, do you think, do you think that somebody that's about to get a bill for 10, 20, $50,000 for a roof would be open to the concept of buying a newer home, that they wouldn't have to do that, or that would at least go towards their down payment? I mean, right? But roof repair is a sign of age, typically. Landscape irrigation, sign of age, typically. Same thing with HVAC, plumbing. These are all signs of aging. They are also aligned with other increased costs of operation, of ownership. What if you could help someone get their dream home for the same price that they are spending now? So how do you weave that message into lead generation? Well, I certainly on your social media, certainly on your email marketing, but I would also be connecting with my preferred partners and just saying, hey, listen, let's share some information. I'm going to drive all of my, inspection repairs and all of that stuff to you. And yet I also want a list from you of everybody who is getting, inquiries, repairs, all of those people they've written these checks. It kind of goes back to that whole car script that I was telling you about before, that somebody would be calling people that brought their cars in for service. It's kind of exactly the same thing, isn't it? Hey, listen, you just spent $10,000 repairing something. If I come to you now and say, hey, listen, that's only going to continue to happen because that was just your roof. We haven't talked about your HVAC. We haven't talked about your irrigation. We haven't talked about your hot water heater or anything else. So maybe now is actually the time for us to dig into the cost of ownership and solve some problems, keeping their goals at the center, right? Always. What I've found is that most people are not actually living in their dream home. They're living in the home that they believe is closest to their dream home they possibly can, but it's not their dream home. So if that's the case, you have an opportunity to get them the dream home at near the same price that they're currently paying. That would be amazing. That's sales, y'all. That's sales. I want to talk about rates for just 1 second, okay? Because mean, this is one of those things that we keep hearing. Oh, well, once rates come down, things are going to get better. I understand what it is that people are saying, that they think that once rates come down, all of those quote unquote people that are sitting on the sidelines, excuse me, um, are suddenly going to be sellers and therefore suddenly going to be buyers. And you know what? Maybe they're right. I don't think they're right. I still think we have an inventory issue. I still think that people are looking at the prices of homes, not the payments of homes, but the prices of homes, and they're saying, guys, they are just too high. And that limits us to working with only the people that absolutely need to buy or sell, need to transact. Most of the people that want to aren't going to do it unless they're just so well heeled that money is not even part of the deal. But rates go down, payments go down, rates go up, prices go lower. Our job is to always be creating movement in the marketplace. That's our job. You can't, the market can be going up, the market can be going down. What you don't want is the market just staying flat. That doesn't do anything for you. And frankly, to me, that is just simply a group of people, group of salespeople that would, I don't want to insult anybody, but listen, there are amateurs and there are pros. If the world is operating out of fear, they're not going to make any kind of adjustments whatsoever. Period. End of story. That's just the way it works. And yet there are good people that want to move on to the next chapter of their lives and they're not doing it. Just 2 years ago, we were talking about how people were upset about the prices of homes, and what we were talking about. Well, yeah, the price is high, but the payment's low. Which is it that you want to focus on? That's an example of us being professionals, understanding the scripts and the dialogues associated with keeping customers' goals at the middle. We weren't telling them one way or the other, but we were simply saying, hey, listen, yes, prices are up. We don't know when they're coming down. You can certainly wait for the prices to come down. That's just delaying your life. Which is more important to you right now? Is it the payment, the cost of operation, or is it something else? Is it the price of the property? Right now, we're kind of having the opposite conversation. If we're being pros about it, what are we buying? Are we buying the price of a home, or are we buying a payment? If we're buying the price of the home, now's a really good time to do it. Yes, it's going to cost you a little bit more in the short term because the interest rates are where they're at, but we're being told, and frankly, we've seen it over the last couple of weeks, interest rates are going down. You can always refinance that. So then you end up with the best of both worlds because you've bought at a lower price and you've got a lower pay, you've got a opportunity to drive the payment down. That's sales. You are going to hear me all year long, every single one of your managing directors. We're going to be talking about this over and over and over. We are sales people. The very first thing we've got to do is stop beating ourselves up, stop being ashamed about being salespeople. It's the greatest profession on the planet. If you can go out and cure cancer, you win. But that is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about people that have made it their life's work to go out and find solutions for the consumer. That is incredible. I think it's fantastic. I think it's noble. And our job is to be pros at keeping customers' goals at the center of the conversation. That's it. We do everything we can to find solutions, and we communicate those solutions in a way that is easy and creates certainty in the minds and the hearts of the community. Fear does not do that. Fear does not do that. So what are we doing? What are we doing? How are we communicating it? All right. Let's see. Yeah, I think I will talk about that. So, one of the things I wrote down was that there are basically three types of expenses that are paid. There's the expense to the bank, there's the operating expense, and then there's the maintenance expense. Those are the three expenses that any person, really, we're talking about anything, right? But we're talking about homes here. So if we could decrease operations and maintenance so that the consumer could afford the homes of their dreams, what would you want to do about it, right? I think that's the script. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, prospect, door knocking, whatever. Hey, listen, I was working with the Johnsons down the street, and when I started working with them, they weren't in the house that they wanted. They weren't in their dream home. And what we found is that we were able to reduce their overall expenses and get them in a dream home. If I could do that for you, would you want to hear more about it? Yeah. Okay, well, that's a script. That's a script. Okay, great. So what would that look like? Well, there are 14 different components, if you will, to expenses, right? And this is an average home. Obviously, they can vary depending on the size and the design and the complexity. We have a variety of different markets. We have a variety of different sub-markets. I'm going to talk on typical things, but listen, you get into different terrains, and boy, the sky's the limit. You get into different price points. You're talking about complexities. It's wild. But the first one is foundations, and this includes the base upon which the house is built, and it's oftentimes concrete. As an example, there's an expense associated with that. Then you've got the framing, right? This is the structure, the walls, the floors, the roof trusses, that kind of stuff. Then you've got the roofing, which is the material that's on the roof that protects it from the elements, and you've got the exterior walls. Sometimes that's stucco, sometimes that's wood, sometimes that's siding, sometimes that's something else. Then you've got windows and doors, right? Makes sense. Um, these can, depending on size and obviously complexities, can get completely and totally out of control. Then you've got interior walls and ceilings. That's the drywall. But obviously, we've seen some, whether it be a barn construction example that I'm thinking of here. And then you got the flooring, the different materials, right? We can get pretty crazy on those, whether we hardwoods or laminates and engineered and solid surface and stones and that kind of stuff. Then you've got the plumbing systems, pipes, fixtures, like what are they doing? Sewage systems, are they city connected? Is it not? And you got electrical. Electrical can go completely bonkers depending on what it is that we're looking for. Is it just lighting systems? Is it audio, visual, what have you? And you've got HVAC systems, you've got insulation, you've got interior finishes, you've got the appliances. We all know you can get a dishwasher for $100, you can get a dishwasher for 3,000. They're all over the board, so these things matter. And then of course you've got landscaping. Landscaping obviously is a big difference. Another one of those, it's very dependent on location and how crazy we're going to get. Are we going to do pools? Are we going to do specialized lighting, etc.? What's crazy about that is that each of these components, they can have multiple subcomponents, right? So we talked about plumbing as an example, right? The plumbing system includes pipes, faucets, water heaters, etc. The electrical system, it's not just the wiring, right? It's the switches and the fixtures and the outlets. So it can all create a whole host of complexities with each advancement. and then we have the Internet of Things, right? Which is like all of the connected smart home technology. Then you throw in solar panels and specialized rooms like home theaters and whatnot. And again, it just keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier. I like the idea of approaching this from a sales perspective. Again, keeping the customer's goals at the center of the conversation. I like the computer text script on this because homes today are more complex. And often they offer luxuries that older homes just don't have. So to compare a home from 30 years ago, even if it's been upgraded as time has gone along, to a home of today, a brand new construction, you really can't do it, can you? And yet, aren't aren't we? Like, isn't that what's going on? We're talking about 3 bedroom, 2 bath homes in this particular area sell for an average of this price. Well, is that fair? How about the price per square foot? Is that fair? Like, what is the overall experience and what is the overall operating expense of that home that's 30 years in order for me to bring it up to that standard? Well, yeah, I can buy it for $400,000, but I'd have to put $150,000 in it, and I would never put $150,000 into a home like that. You'll never get your money, except I can go down the street and buy a home for $450,000 instead of $400,000. And I can get everything I ever wanted from a technology standpoint, and I can literally drive down my expenses with that complexity. See, if we're going to do upgrades to our home, we're going to increase the complexities. And as we increase the complexities, we increase the expense of having them corrected. It just requires a more highly skilled person and a technology skilled. And of course, it's going to make more, it's going to cost more. So as a result, replacing some of the components are going to be more than any of us probably expected. And as a result, that's why we're seeing a massive, it's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons that we're seeing a massive push towards new homes. Because listen, if I had to trade the two, I'm going to go this way or go that way. I might as well just get a brand new home that has all of the technologies already built into it, integrated from the get-go, and I don't have to go out and reinvent that wheel. Again, hopefully what you're getting from me today is that we all need to level up our skills. We all have got to get better at having conversations and understanding what it means to keep our customers' goals at the center of the conversation. That's what this is all about. I want to talk about differentiation for 1 second. And I don't know who it is, but somebody needs to hear me. Okay. If you're 24 years old, you need to stop talking about what to eat to be shredded. You're 24, you're meant to be shredded. Okay. If you're 50 or if you're 40, yes, you should be telling everybody if you're shredded how to be shredded. Okay. If you don't have any kids, you need to stop telling people what it means to have a balanced schedule because you don't know what it means to get a phone call saying, "Hey, I forgot my water, I forgot my trumpet, I got a bloody nose, I'm not feeling well, middle of the night." You don't understand what that means, so stop talking about it. You don't understand what balance is. Sorry, this is just truth. It's Tuesdays with Todd, but maybe it's truthful Tuesdays with Todd. As you all know, marriage is very important to me. It is a critical component to life and in the enjoyment of. I've been on both sides of it. Yeah, I'm uniquely qualified to talk about what it means to be married for a long period of time and what it means to you and your family if you're not married, meaning you get divorced. I'm uniquely qualified. And yet, if people have only been married for 5 years and they want to talk about how you can stay married for 20 years, it's all BS. So that's not a way to differentiate yourself. And yet, what I'm hearing, so why am I saying all this stuff? I'm not trying to just be offensive. What I'm really trying to say is, hey, listen, there are people who have built billion-dollar businesses. I'm one of them. Okay. I've built a multi-billion-dollar business. I will likely not tell anybody how to build a $10 billion business. Well, not likely. I won't until I get to $10 billion, which I'm going to get to. And when I get there, I'll teach people how to get to $10 billion. There are people out there right now in your space, in your life, in your world that either are telling a story that they shouldn't be telling, or maybe they're either you're listening to it about things that they haven't demonstrated any ability to succeed in that space. And I'm asking you to do a great job in 2024 of differentiating yourself, eliminating those people who have not demonstrated that they have the capability to show you the way. Get them out of your space. We all know that when the market's frothy, it doesn't really matter. Everybody just goes, it's fine. I'll just do it for less, right? When the market gets shifty, that's when you start to see shifty people into the market. Those are the ones where you go, oh, well, this person is going to do it for less and they're going to change my life or this and that and the other. And then you go, hey, have you done this before? Well, no, but just trust me. No, don't trust them. That's nonsense. Show me that you've done it. Show me that you have lost weight. Show me that you've stayed married. Show me that you've been a great parent. Show me that you've built a great business. These are the things that I want you to show me in 2024. I want to make sure that you've walked a mile in my shoes. I want to walk a mile in yours. Sometimes the only thing you need to do from a demonstration standpoint is to look at the math. Just look at the math. We do this in sales. I mean, we talk about for sale by owners, right? For sale by owner, median home sales price for sale by owner is $310,000. Do you know that? I hope you knew that. Because it's sales. The median home price of a for sale by owner is $310,000. It's a national stat. Homes sold by an agent are $405,000. Wait a minute. $405,000 instead of 310. Well, last I checked, that's $95,000. It's nowhere close to the 3, 4, 5, 8% commission that you're charging. Nowhere close. Like, there's no comparison. Given that data, in a million years, I would never be a for sale by owner. Hmm. By the way, that sounds like some bitter dude in Missouri that was complaining about a 3% commission, which on average, well, may call it 6%. Like, think about that for 1 second. So if what we're talking about is on average, let's call it 5% of the commission. So that's, let's say 400,000. So that's $20,000. So a $20,000 commission, and we've got some attorney in Missouri who's filed this class action lawsuit and technically won. We don't know where it's going to end up. But listen, over $20,000, and yet the consumer made $95,000 more. Last I checked, that was really, really good for the consumer. Really good for the consumer. Really good for the consumer. But wait, that's not all. Today and today only, y'all, he's going to make $2.5 billion dollars in one case. One case, one attorney, and he's telling our story better than we're telling it. And I'm going to ask us all today in 2024, going to war in 2024 means know what to say, when to say, how to say it, making sure that you understand we're talking to the consumers that we certainly are getting. I'm talking to many of our agents and they're all saying, hey, listen, this is happening. I want to have those conversations. Hey, listen, yeah, sure enough, the average is 310. The average with an agent is 405. It's far better to have an agent. You get to do whatever it is that you want to do at the end of the day. Hmm. One more math story for you. One more math story. Recently, we had somebody in one of our offices go out and start it's a discount company. It's got three letters. I'm not going to go into that, but what was interesting to me was that um, how do I want to say this? Well, I'm not going to say it. So anyway, somebody in one of the markets leaves our office. They go out, they start another deal, and they go back to our agents and they say, "Hey, listen, come with me, follow me. I'm the one." No different than somebody in a neighborhood that you currently work coming in and saying, "Do not list your property with that person. Come with me. I can do the same thing. I can do it better. I can get you more money. I'm going to charge you less. I'm going to do everything he or she can do, and I'm going to do it better and for less. This is going to be the greatest thing ever for you." And then when you pull back the curtain, you realize they've done two transactions in their life. One of them was their mother. They don't have anything to demonstrate that they can actually do what they said they were going to do. That's what I was just saying. Don't tell me, show me. And this person did exactly that, went out, opened up a company, and you'll love it. Multi-level marketing. You'll never have to sell real estate again. I'm going to teach you how to recruit agents. It's going to be the greatest thing ever. You can sit on the beach in Tahiti and drink Mai Tais. There's a cap. We're going to do it for less. We can do everything that they can do. We can do it for less. It's going to be incredible. And then you pull back the curtain to realize that that company, the average agent, get this, the average agent does 1.2 transactions per year. 1.2. Come on, you guys. The math is the path, is what Jeff says. Just follow the math. This company has 6,000 agents in like 8 states, claiming that they're going to go to 20. But here's the thing. They barely do more total sales volume than we do, than our company does. And we have demonstrated growth, demonstrated success for the agents, demonstrated support and accomplishment, and yes, changing lives. We don't need to just talk about it. We walk it. The math is the path. That's it. All right, let's talk about winter. I'm going to talk about seasons for 1 second. I remember when COVID was here, we were talking about faith over fear, faith over fear, faith over fear, faith over fear. And here we are today. Like there are seasons, right? And the seasons aren't just in the world, but they're in life. We've got fall, we got winter, we got spring, we got summer. Everybody loves spring and summer. It's warm. Stuff's growing. It's crazy, isn't it? It's amazing. Love it. It's easy to win in the spring and the summer. But you don't make your money on the sell, you make it on the buy. That's the saying, remember? Where do you make your money? You buy right. You buy right. Same thing in your business. Same thing goes for winning in your business. You win doing the right things in the winter. Do you know when a beach body is built? In the winter. Y'all, we're in the winter. This is the opportunity. This is the separation season. This is the thing. Like you got to have faith right now that you have an organization, you've got a bunch of leadership that is absolutely committed to providing you what's necessary to succeed and to have an impact. And I promise you, mark my words, it's being recorded. I promise you that if you will do what we're saying to do, sign up for coaching, build out your business plan, execute on your lead generation sources, check the boxes, be disciplined, do the things, get better while everybody else is hunkered down, curled up in the fetal position right now. If you'll do all of these things right now, you will have the win in the spring and the summer. You will have the beach body you've always been looking for. You'll have the greatest marriage, the greatest family. You'll have the greatest finances. That's what will happen, but you have to actually do the work. Okay? Faith over the pill. Fear. All right. I got a couple of more things I want to chat with you guys about here. Oh, Sarah. Yeah, you know what? I do want to talk about this. So I had a conversation with somebody the other day and they were talking to me about like, oh yeah, I'll be happy when. No, 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 no. I was like, no, 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 no. That's not how this works. They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You get like, everybody's so happy when they've got, I don't know if that's true or not. I think that's quite the assumption. What I would say is that I found that most people that are happy in the journey are also happy in the outcome. Those people who are not happy in the journey are the ones that are miserable, rich and miserable in the outcomes. Think about that for 1 minute. It's in the journey. You've got to enjoy the journey. I love the journey, but I have to tell you something. I get this all the time. Well, Todd, why are you so intense? Why am I so intense? Y'all, the stakes are huge. And I know something that most people don't know. Do you want to know what it is? Do you? Somebody wants your shit. That's the secret. Somebody doesn't want you to succeed. Somebody who is miserable doesn't want you to succeed, and they're willing to say things to you, about you, in front of you, behind you. They want you to fail. Why am I intense? I love it. I love suiting up every day. I love going to battle every day. I love it. It's what gets me fired up. You can see it right now. And I know somebody wants your stuff. Somebody wants your business. They want your life. They want your spouse. They want your kids. They want your purpose. They want everything that you have, and somebody's coming for it all the time. And I know that. And as a result of knowing that, I'm always intense. I'm always urgent. I'm always sharp. I want to be prepared. Remember, when opportunity comes a knocking, it's too late to prepare. I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to be focused and disciplined. I'm going to do all of the things that I know have to happen because it's grow or go. Remember, we're either growing or we're going because somebody else wants your spot. That's where the saying came. Success is not owned, it's rented, and the rent is due every day. That's what that's what the journey is. Man, I got to tell you what that does, it gives me the ability to go to bed tired and wake up hungry. That's the whole point. Go to bed tired, wake up hungry. Take every single action of the day and treat it with the discipline and the focus and the urgency and the intensity that it deserves because you will prepare, sweat more in preparation, bleed less in war, prepare more for the opportunities, realize more of the opportunities. That's how you're going to outscale everybody. That's how you're going to kick everybody's butt. Remember, the rising tide lifts all boats. It's the one that we're dealing with right now, where only the intense, only those that enjoy the journey, only those that do the things that are necessary. I don't know if you've heard, but you've got to plan properly because if you don't know where you're going, you'll never get there. You've got to be disciplined with what you're consuming, right? The input has everything to do with the outcomes, meaning you've got to surround yourself with the right people. I don't care if that's the right physical people. Yes. I don't care if that means listening to the right things, following the right people, reading the right books. These are all of the inputs that impact your outcomes. That's what we're talking about, treating everything with the level of importance that it should be treated with so that you can have the outcomes that you say you want. If you're not doing those things, then you are literally what they're talking about when they say everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Let's do the work. 2024, we're going to war in 24. We're going to get in the foxhole together. We're going to have the greatest, talented, most professional rock star people on the planet, which we do have. The data tells me so. The data tells me that example I was just talking about with the guy that started this other company, we are over 10 times on every metric. Think about that for a minute. We have 450, 500 people doing about the same as their 6,000. Like, you do the data, you do the math, you crunch the numbers. We're going to be intense. Why? Because we deserve it. And we know that we can have it all. And we know that this is the winter that will reveal our beach bodies. Now, this is when beach bodies are born in the winter. We're going to eat right. We're going to train right. We're going to love right. We're going to respect right. We're going to be disciplined. We're going to take actions. We're going to do the things. It's separating us from the pack. Which brings me to the next one. If you're going to separate yourself from the pack, I need you to understand something. If you differentiate yourself from others, you will stand out. Standing out, oftentimes you will stand alone if you're not careful. That's one of the reasons that it's so powerful to be in an organization like this one, where you are literally surrounded by pros. I call them animals, assassins, disciples, whatever you want to call them is fine. But these are people that know what it means to do the work and get the outcomes with the right intensity and the right joy of loving the process. But understand, if you are going to stand out, if you are going to differentiate yourself, you will stand alone. Are you ready? Are you ready? Y'all, I have dealt with it, man. I'm thank God I've got a great wife, and thank God I've got God because I don't know how else to deal with it. And maybe I'm just too sensitive, but standing alone is lonely. Standing out, thinking that you're doing something with that, and you know it in your bones, in your heart, in your soul, you know it's the right thing to do, and yet you will be targeted as a result of that because it doesn't fit with I don't know, conventional or listen, everybody's got a platform now, right? So, but I want to talk to you about how I have been able to navigate some of that and see if it helps you. But you're going to have to do it, right? You're going to have to separate yourself right now because there are 1.6 million real estate agents in the marketplace, and only about, I don't know, 300,000 of them are doing anything. And yet the consumer doesn't know that. You and I know that, but the consumer doesn't know that. So how are you going to make it so that the consumer knows? You're going to have to stand out. So how do you deal with the criticism? Well, first one's first, right? Listen, you know what's true. I know what's true, good and bad for that matter. I think you just have to learn to be gracious and tempered. Be careful. You don't have to accept the invitation to every fight, every argument. Stay focused on your purpose. Be the horse with the blinders on. Stay focused, one foot in front of the other. Do what's needed. Number three, play the comparison game. I love playing the comparison game. I think it's funny. People are like, "Oh, you don't want to compare." No, no, I compare myself. I I mean, that's what having a rabbit is. Heck yeah, I compare myself. Now, I will say you got to be careful, right? You want to make sure that you are literally comparing yourself with one of the pros, not one of those folks that I was talking about before, where they're telling you how to be shredded at age 24. And of course, you're shredded at age 24. I want somebody who's actually done it. They've demonstrated it. They can prove it. It's social proof. It's experienced. They can demonstrate for me. All right. Those are the pros. So yeah, I want to compare myself to the pros. Number four, well, I'm going to go back. Number three. So if I'm playing that comparison game, then what I'm doing is I'm eliminating, right? The saying is don't let the people that are sitting in the cheap seats have a really expensive opinion in your mind. And really that's what it's talking about, right? Gotta be careful, right? Like lots of people, and it's not always that they're trying to hurt you. Like lots of people are giving you this, I call it shade, but they don't mean it that way. They're really trying to protect you because they love you, right? Those are typically coming from, really close friends or family members. But listen, from them too, it comes it's jealousy, etc. But you really do just need to make sure that you're comparing your success, your life, your direction with people that you admire and have demonstrated that success in that area. And then you have to surround yourself with the right people. Listen, the saying is that it's lonely at the top, and it is lonely at the top. Um, yeah, I'm going to leave it there. You've got to surround yourself with the right people. You've got to find other people who have the same courage and strength and desire and purpose and calling as you. And you've got to be close. And oftentimes those people aren't in your neighborhood, so to speak. And so it's going to require some additional heavy lifting and some intention behind it, but you're going to need to do it. Remember, as you continue to grow and elevate and separate and differentiate, you find that the pool of those people continues to shrink. And so suddenly, what you thought was, oh, well, 30% now turned to 10%. And now what we're really talking about is 1%, 1% of the population. You got to find them and you've got to surround yourself with them. That's going to events, that's having mastermind. I love the masterminds. I think that's a very, very powerful way of creating and making connection, but you've got to do what's necessary. You're going to have to get on an airplane. You're going to have to jump on a Zoom call. You're going to have to chase down some people. And it's just going to feel uncomfortable, but you're just going to have to do it. Um, Shannon and I are having some people over for dinner tonight that we've gone out of our way to build a relationship with that has demonstrated success in a particular space that I want. And he's got a great way of thinking, and she's got a great way of thinking, and together they're doing something that Shannon and I want to do, and so we've gotten really intentional about it. Number five, celebrate milestones, not trophies. Celebrate milestones, not trophies. Um, it for me, at the end never really is satisfying. I mean, I talked about it just a second ago. It literally is the journey. The joy is in the journey. The joy is in the purpose. The passions in the purpose. Like that's it. And so enjoy and celebrate the milestones. Don't wait for the accolades. The accolades are hollow. I think what you'll find is the accolades are accidental. So other people can see, oh, they're always talking about this and then, yeah, whatever. Like, we use that just as a figment of, hey, it's social proof. Like we're not part of the Power 200 from Swanepoel because we didn't earn it, right? That's just there you go, social proof. I didn't say it, somebody else said it. We didn't make the Inc. magazine fastest growing real estate companies by only giving a shit about ourselves. We did that by helping other people, and I believe that that's demonstrated in some of those awards. But otherwise, we celebrate milestones. We celebrate individual human beings and the impact that we get to have on each and every one of them, and it is rad. It is rad. Hi, Rhonda. Number six, be prepared. Listen, if you know something is coming, it doesn't hurt as bad, right? And it's coming. The more you stand out, the more you will stand alone. And so you are going to get some shade the more you stand out. Now, some of you will say, hey, you know what? I don't actually want to deal with that pain. And so I'm just going to stand out less. That's fine. It's your life. It's just not how I chose to do it. But it's 100% your deal. We'll support and love you through all of that stuff. But for some of you that are like, hey, listen, I want to stand out a lot. I want to have great impact. You are going to have to be prepared for some stuff, right? But if you're prepared, it won't hurt as bad. But just understand it's coming, and it's likely going to come from people that you wouldn't expect. So just know. Number seven, go dark and lonely. Go dark. Go dark. For me, what that means is finding an area where in my life, business, personal, whatever, where I'm just not at the level that I want to and just getting better. Like I'm going to get hyper focused. I'm going to get mad almost, right? I'm just going to get super intense and urgent in that one place. And I am just going to go dark and lonely. And then I'm going to come out of that deal going, hey, I went dark. I went lonely. I kicked its ass and here I am. All right. That's the whole thing. If you will prepare, if you will sweat more in preparation, you'll bleed less in war. So get into the prep. And then number eight is show yourself love. Show yourself love. Listen, I know we like it, but you don't need it. You don't need love from anybody else other than yourself. When you're a baby, you needed love. You're an adult. The Bible says, right? When I was a child, I played like and spoke like a child. But then I outgrew those things. You have outgrown those things. You are the only one that needs to love yourself. You must love yourself. There is no replacement for loving yourself. And the greatest show of love to yourself is truth, honesty, win or lose, no drama. Did you get it? Did you give it? Did you give it your all? Did you leave it all on the field? Yes or no? That's it. Okay. I'm going to skip that one. I'm just going to leave you with this. My message for the first Tuesdays with Todd that's on a Wednesday, okay, is go to bed tired and wake up hungry. I have to tell you guys, I have been going to like literally dragging my booty to bed at 9:30 at night. Dragging, like not sure I'm gonna make it tired. And then I'm waking up before my alarm. My alarm set for five, literally 4:50 something. My alarm's going off, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, from dead tired to racing out of the bedroom to tackle the day. Like my mind is alert. It's on fire. I'm ready to go. I'm excited about the market. I'm excited about the opportunity. I'm excited about the impact that we're having and going to have. Like it literally is like Christmas Day being a little kid. We need to find our Christmas, everybody. In 2024, you need to find your Christmas. What is it that's going to get you to fight and scratch and be disciplined all day long, leaving it all on the field to fall into bed on complete empty? And then wake up on fire and hungry as can possibly be, ready to take on the world. What is your Christmas? Oh, those of us that have kids, we just got to watch it. Those of us that have grandkids, we just got to watch it. Those of us, like, we know what it feels like. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. At the end of the day, the actions you take provide evidence for who you are. And I want to make sure that everybody that is watching, the actions that they're seeing align. Because listen, I just talked about it. There's lots of people out there that'll tell you, oh, he all he cares about is the money. Mm, listen, my actions would indicate differently. Okay. And frankly, I'm not the one out there talking about money unless it's a goal of yours. Right. I'm not talking about money. Now, I do believe that we have to be good stewards. Right. That's just not being stupid. Right. Oh, yeah, but he doesn't care about this. Listen, you show me some place where that demonstrates that. See, we're in this world where everybody is so offendable. I'm not offendable. Right? I get my feelings hurt. But my feelings being hurt isn't going to stop me from doing what I believe that God has called me to do. And I wasn't qualified to do it. The saying is, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. So I'm focused, I'm intense, I'm going to war in 2024 because I can provide evidence of who I am based on the actions and my discipline. Every single day, by doing what I said I'm going to do, my conscious believes that evidence. Believes it's not an affirmation. Affirmations provide clarity. I love affirmations, but they provide clarity of where you want to be. The pain of not is more motivational than the pleasure of not. Affirmations say, I have a great team. Like 99% of my agents are making $100,000 per year. That's an affirmation. Doing the work every single day to arm them and provide them with the right support and tools and leads and balance and foundations and focus, all of those things, that's demonstrating it. Demonstrate this year. Demonstrate why you are the pro. Demonstrate it. And you're going to have your absolute best year ever. Period. End of story. All right. That's Tuesdays with Todd on Wednesday. Moving forward, we'll do it on Tuesdays. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Look forward to seeing you all in person.